Howdy, I'm Conda. Welcome back to Conda Commentary. The air is starting to get a bit chillier here in Texas. At least occasionally. Maybe. And with that air brings some old memories. These memories are all tied to karate, so I thought I'd include the most combat-intensive Hypixel game I could think of, The Pit. In this game, you basically just run around and fight people in a free-for-all. At least, I think that's what it is. I'm really new to it, as you'll probably be able to tell from this footage. Now, I used to take karate whenever I was younger. I was pretty serious about it too. I found a paper recently that had the date I started, and I figured out that I was in it for about 5 years, I think. I made it up to a purple belt, if that means anything to any of y'all. In my style of karate, that was, I think, just a few divisions away from a black belt. And those 5 years had a lot of memories all built up. So, this time of year back then was pretty busy when it came to martial arts, at least at my dojo. This was when all of the events usually happened. The first event that comes to mind for me would be tournaments. I don't know how niche this is gonna get, but I'll try to keep it entertaining. We'd have the big tournament around this time of year, and we'd technically be preparing for it all the time, but we specifically focused on it for like a couple of months before it actually happened. The tournaments had these 2 different categories that you would compete in, or I only competed in 2 categories. I think there was another one that had to do with weapons, but I hadn't gotten to that point yet. So, the 2 I competed in were forms, or katas, and sparring, but I was too chicken to compete in sparring in my first tournament. Forms were these sequences of movements that incorporated all the different types of stances and punches and kicks and strikes. They took a lot of concentration and a lot of memorization, and they looked like a dance if done right. I still really love katas, or forms, and I'm actually attempting to relearn the ones I used to compete with, because it's just fun. When it was getting close to tournament time, we'd also spend the class time split off in the dojo and just work on forms for the whole 2-hour practice. The other category that you can compete in was sparring, and it was admittedly scarier, but I did still manage to have a lot of fun with that. My mom and dad teased me because I'd be smiling while sparring, which is also a little bit scary, I've gotta admit. I can't even really tell you why I smiled during it, but hopefully it just meant that I was having a good time. So if you don't know, sparring is like a simulated fight, pretty much. The sparring that I did in karate involved wearing gear to protect yourself, and you could only hit in certain areas, so like the legs were off limit, I think, and the face was off limit, but the side of the head had gear covering it, so that was allowed. And if you landed a hit anywhere in these allowed areas, you earned a point, and I believe we'd go for like 5 points. It's been a while, so I don't remember the specifics that well. My parents also teased me at this one tournament because I faced this opponent that was backing off the mat, and if you back off the mat more than once, you forfeit the match. She got in trouble the first time she backed off the mat, and it was just a warning, and then apparently I would corner her, and, she'd be like edging towards the back of the mat again, and then I would back away, so she wouldn't get into any trouble. Does that count as good sportsmanship? I do miss tournaments. The vibe in a competition is just different from practicing alone, or even simply performing. We'd perform in these showcases at the end of the year as well. We'd show off these skills that we had been learning that year to our parents, and then they'd hand out these medals, I think. I feel like I remember medals existing, but I don't think they were place medals. Just like participation? Man, it's been too long. My favorite performance I did was this partner kata, which was called Kion Kumite. In this style of kata, there are two people that have learned their sequence of moves, and when you combine them, it pieces together like two puzzle pieces. It was so satisfying to learn, and I think it probably looked pretty cool too to the people that would come to watch. One of my favorite memories from karate was after one of these showcases, or at least I think it was after a showcase. It could have been just after one of our classes. Anyhow, we finished up with what we were doing, and then because it was December and really close to Christmas, there was this Christmas light attraction that let you ride through it on a horse-drawn carriage. We went as a group, which wasn't a super large group, but it was still so much fun. We had to huddle together under blankets because of the cold, and I feel like I still have the pictures from it somewhere. That was so long ago. It was really nice to be in a team like that, even if it was technically an individual sport. I think that's probably enough traveling down memory lane for this week. Thanks for listening to my rambling. If you would like to hear about a fight that I lost with an Uno card, check out this video from last week. I seriously did lose a fight with an Uno card. I managed to place in karate tournaments multiple years in a row, but Uno cards, those are my kryptonite. Are you still here? You should go watch that. Well, thanks for sticking around. I'll see you next week. Bye.